Hello, guys. Welcome to Home Buyer's Guide. I'm here again with a special guest for our second session, and I'm gonna briefly allow her to introduce herself. For some of you that were not here the last session, kindly take the floor and introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, this is Shirlyn Antonio. I am a licensed realtor, or I should say real estate agent. I work from out of the Oakville branch with Royal LePage Services, and I've had the opportunity of speaking and knowing Brahim for quite a while now. And I do thank you so much for inviting me again this weekend just to touch base on a few topics when it comes to home buying program.
Thank you, Charlene. So today's session is gonna be about first-time home buyer. What are the programs or incentives that are available, and what are the requirements?
Most definitely. Before I do begin, I want to advise everyone that I am a real estate agent. I'm not a financial advisor, but some of the things that we do hand in hand is to get acquainted with what are the incentives are and to break it down for individuals. So when it comes time for them to go into the home buying process, they're aware of all these different incentives. And I do encourage anyone who is now looking at going into that particular step of home ownership as a first time home buyer to please seek the advice or get a qualified mortgage broker, whether or not it's a bank or somebody that you know that has a license and is really good at what they do, to get the appropriate information at hand. So let's get started. What programs or incentives are available? First and foremost, when it comes to first time home buyers incentive, you would want to confirm first and foremost that you qualify as a first time home buyer, which means you must be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident. And it also means that you have never owned a home, even independently or with jointly with anyone. And also, it means that you have never received a home as an inheritance or gift, because the Ontario government will not consider you as a first time home buyer.
Mm.
Now, many people just, say, oh, wow, I never knew that. I never thought that if I had a gift, it means that I am not, a first time home buyer. Yeah, you're not, but you're a homeowner. So in retrospect, most of these programs are for people who have never been able to get into the market and wants to give them that push and that incentive to get the help they need in order to do so. Now, let's touch on one of the first topics here that I want to go down the list with. Many people want to know, what is a down payment as a first time home buyer? In Canada, home buyers must have a minimum percentage of the home's purchase price on hand.
Mm.
That means the amount depends on how much the home is worth or the home costs. So, for example, if you purchase something that is 500,000, the minimum down payment is 5%. If you purchase anything between 500 to 999, which is a dollar shy of a million, the minimum down payment is 5% of the first 500,000 and then 10% of the amount over 500,000. Then if you're looking at a million, it's more, which is like a minimum down payment of 20%. Again, most banks may have more incentives for first time home buyers. And so I do encourage you to seek the professional help you need to figure out whether or not, if there's any programs in place that could be different than what's stated here. And again, all of this information is online, and you can get that information if you were to sit with your partner or yourself and Google it just to get a breakdown of this. The next one I want to touch base is the new introduced proposal, which is the First Home Savings Account, which is another program offered by the federal government to help first-time home buyers save a down payment. This is called the FHSA if you put it into an abbreviation. Individuals can deposit up to $8,000 into this particular account annually and up to a lifetime maximum of $40,000. So if you have a partner, you can do 8,000 and they can do 8,000. And then that's again will be a maximum of 80,000, which is the combined contribution limit. This fund can grow in a variety of like investment types, but would need to be liquidated when the time comes for that down payment. There is no minimum time that the money needs to be sheltered within the account, and you must enter into agreement to purchase, to build, or to buy a home within 15 years.
Mm.
After that 15 years, it will be converted into an RSP fund. And again, I was told, or I know that that particular fund, you can combine it with the FSA for a more sheltered fund itself, or tax-free fund, I should say. The next one, the Home Buyers Plan, known as the HBP. This is a program offered by the government of Canada to help first-time home buyers to get into the market. If you're eligible, you can withdraw as much as $35,000 from your registered retirement savings plan. Again, that's RSP. This could be put towards your down payment for your first home. Homeowners are combined, again, they can combine this again with the HBP for tax-free potential savings. Again, please check with your mortgage advisors or any place of employment when it comes to taking out that RSP, because you want to make sure you inquire on the length of time it's going to take for you to get the process started. And of course, you want to make sure it's available upon time of closing. So if this is something you're thinking of, you're going to need to touch base with whomever you're doing this RSP contribution with, as well as your financial advisor, so you're on the right page as to when to do it and when to get access to it. So at the end of the day, I'll be like, oh my God, I didn't know I had to do all of this, and so I'm in limbo. So get that information beforehand. Have it as one of the incentives that you can use in case this is an option for you. First-time home buyers incentives, which is again not the most popular, I've been told, incentive, is a shared equity program with the Canadian government, and this can help you again if you're having a difficulty coming up with a down payment. Eligible Canadians can apply for an interest-free loan, which is worth either 5 or 10% of the home's purchase price. This loan will have to be repaid in 25 years or whenever the home is sold. There is also a household income qualification cap, I do believe, which is between $120,000 to $150,000, depending on where you live. Again, this one here, I know some people don't really like the fact, because then they have to, I guess, they lean on the fact they do have to sell the home in order to, give back and whatnot. So again, read more into it, get more information, and see if it's something that you are would be more, I guess, suited for your needs. First-time home buyers tax credit. If you're a homeowner for the first time, again, you may be eligible for a non-refundable tax credit of up to $1,500 when you buy a qualifying home. Of course, to qualify, you have to be new to home ownership. So please make sure you know that this is not for you if you're not a first-time home buyer. Provision is also available to individuals with disabilities. So this is definitely a welcome incentive to help, again, alleviate any kind of expenses. So if you're getting back in tax credit, it's great, because then the more you have, the best it is to help with any expense when it comes to buying a home. Now we look at GST and HST home rebate. This is available if you buy a new built home or have significantly renovated an existing home, or let's just say your house was destroyed and you had to rebuild it. Then of course this incentive was a rebate that you can qualify for. Ontario land transfer tax refund. Again, you could be eligible for the provincial land transfer tax refund, and this rebate can go up to $4,000 for home prices over $368,000. Anything below that, there's no, you don't qualify. So the land transfer tax is not applicable for any homes below that value. Again, I do advise you to look into that and to see, again, get all this facts. So when the time comes and you're sitting with a mortgage broker and he's telling you these things, oh yeah, I know about that. I have all the information at hand. I just want to know, when can I get the process started? Because I do know all these different things. What I really would love to know is, do I get that rebate beforehand, or does that come after when it's closing time, or is it mailed to me? So most of these things, they can break down to you to let you know the process, as well as when these incentives will be provided. There's also first-time home purchase rebate in Toronto. As a first-time home buyer, you could qualify for a rebate of $4,475. And if you're purchasing a new build or a residential resale property in Toronto, all of these are rebates that could be provided to you, of course, again, if you qualify for it. Other programs that's outside there, in case there are any individuals who are in the Niagara region, you do have a Niagara home ownership program. You have a Kingston and surrounding county of Frontenac home ownership program. You have Simcoe affordability home ownership program. Even Waterloo has one. You have programs in Chatham, Kent, District of Muskoka, Brantford, and Dufferin County. So again, yeah, we are all talking about home ownership as a first-time home buyer, but as I said, most of this information is online. To get started, I would encourage everybody, first of all, is to, know what your financial situation is. Um, know exactly what location you like to be in, know if it's going to be yourself or a partner or maybe a collective group, maybe your sister, your brother, and yourself coming to do it for the first time. But have all this information in hand, and then you can say, I need a really qualified expert who is more prone to give me information when it comes to the financial aspect of things, so that at least when the time comes, I have all this information at hand. I have my finances in place. I know all these incentives. I know exactly what I might qualify for. I know what I can probably save. And so once you have that information and you say, okay, I'm ready, I would like to know if I qualify. And of course, they would run their numbers, they will provide you that information. And once they give you an example of this is what you can qualify for, we can hold it for a maximum of how length of time in order for you to start the process of looking at purchasing a home. And then you come to somebody like me and you say, we have been pre approved. We've done all the process. We know what we have qualified for. This is our budget. These are the areas that we're interested in. And then that's where I kick in. I will sit with you and I would advise you of what's on the market, where you find the best price for your value, and give you information on hand that would help you to get the home that you are hoping to get or qualify for and becoming a first time home buyer. So, in a nutshell, that is what my first part of this program is today, is to let you know that get some time and sit and look at what incentives are there. And as I said, it's 2024. Most of this information is out there. I mean, you can click on YouTube, you can listen to what it has to say. Most of the government programs do have a reel that you can listen in on them, and you can make this information available to yourself. But get the process started. In order for you to qualify, you need to start somewhere, and this is where you start in finding out what can I get and how can I get the help I need in order to maximize the amount of money I do have, and to be able to get the home that I'm hoping to get.
Thank you, Shirlyn, for this informative presentation on the programs and incentives available out there.
You're
My
welcome.
first question to you is, let's say someone is saying that I am a newcomer,
Yes.
because one of the criteria is you have to be a resident of Canada. So does that mean you have to be a Canadian citizen? Do you have to be a
Yes.
PR?
Yes. It's special. I mean, it's an area that, of course, when it comes to the crisis that we're having in Ontario, especially, you do have to be Canadian. You do have to be permanent resident just to safeguard having that housing or home for Canadians first. And I do, again, when it comes to qualifying, that's one of the things I just want to make sure that you're aware of, that you need to be either or in order to start the process. So don't waste your time and do all of this. And then at the end of the day, you're told, unfortunately, no, get this first and then start the process.
Thank you for answering that. So the second question is, I see that most of these incentives and programs, you have to deal directly with the bank.
Yeah, well, not directly with the bank. I mean, again, you have mortgage brokers, but anybody who have any sort of license in that area and they are specializing in mortgages, they can advise you on this particular niche, because that's what they do. And again, to get the most information and the most understanding of how it works, I would encourage any individual looking into doing this to get that advice and to get it from them rather than from a third party who, will be just gearing you rather than giving you the right information that's required.
Thanks. So the other question I want to ask you, um, when let's say someone is applying for these programs and incentives, is it going to be based on their income?
Most likely, of course. I mean, of course, whether the housing situation here, I mean, it's pretty pricey when it comes to purchasing a home. And of course, it all ties in, even with leases. It all starts with your credit rating. your income, how long you've been in a job, your tax returns, those sort of things you need to definitely look into. And again, that all lies under the umbrella of the mortgage broker. So that being said, it's really good to make sure that you have savings started, or you're trying your best to alleviate most of your expenses. So at least you do have a really good credit score on hand, as well as enough income to sustain, supporting the expenses that what a home will come with. So those are things. They're pretty basic, and a lot of people do know that, but it does help when you do have more than one individual who are going into a home ownership, because combined income is definitely better than one. It takes off that stress of having to own a home. So income does play a very crucial part for sure.
You don't recommend somebody capitalizing on these programs and incentives by themselves, let's say going on the government website or the city
Mm-hmm.
website
Mm-hmm.
to apply. Do you recommend individuals to do that by themselves, or do you recommend them having an agent like you to help them?
If we're looking at the incentives, I mean, it doesn't hurt for you to go and research. As I said, it's available there. It's up for you to review. It's always best to know what someone's talking about. So when you get that knowledge and that awareness of what's available, it's something that you have in your back pocket. So when you're sitting with somebody and they're talking with you and they haven't mentioned something, then you can say, well, what about this? So research is good. Doing it alone as a first time home, I wouldn't suggest doing it alone. I mean, yes, research is good, but wanted to start the process alone, I wouldn't suggest that. As I said, do the research, get some information, know what's out there, have it documented somewhere, or if you're one of those individuals who can retain things, which I'm not, I have to write everything down. When you go to a mortgage broker or somebody that you bank with, or a referral from somebody, then they will definitely say to you, yeah, these are things that are available. And wow, yes, you've done your homework. Excellent. Yeah, so for us to start the process, I will encourage you to do this and I'll encourage you to do that in order for us to say, get you the home that you want to get. And so, again, they will be the best individuals to start with. Once you hear that you have been pre-approved and you know you've got everything that you need, and not going to wait till when the time comes to purchase a home to start doing that, then it's fantastic. Because what we don't need, I'm going to encourage anyone that's listening today, is going to a mortgage broker, being told that yes, I can get your home, and then once we do start shopping around, you do have that pre-approval, but then they haven't started the work yet. So I'm going to encourage anyone who's listening today, if you do have a mortgage broker, somebody who's doing this, please ask them to start the process of really making sure that you do qualify. And if you do qualify, that they ask you to get everything in place, rather than when we do go and purchase a home, then they're asking for important documents, which can be very stressful, especially when it comes in time to closing. So having a really good mortgage broker is key. And again, it's not something you have to pay for. Most of these brokers are paid their commission through the lenders, and maybe at the time of closing. So it's not something you have to pay up hand for, or as well as when you're retaining a realtor. A lot of people are shy by, oh my, I can't afford it because I have to pay this and I'm gonna. No, the majority of the closing costs and whatnot is taken from the selling portion, so you don't have to worry about that. The only time you may worry yourself as if you retain a real estate agent and you did not ask for a real proper mutual release, and you've already had that person doing all this work, and at the end you made another agent purchase the property after they've done so, and you're still within your contract with that agent. So don't do that, please. I encourage individuals to please don't do that. It is not a legal process. You would have to probably then foot the commission bill or whatever expenses incurred because of the time loss and the fact that you're still under a BRA contract. And that's in a nutshell what I will encourage individuals to do when it comes to just getting information. And as I said, information is key, and it's mostly for your benefit as well.
Thank you so much, Charlene. I don't have
You're welcome.
any more questions.
Please, you can reach out to me via phone or email. My phone number is 647-241-7106. or Shirlyn, which is Shirlyna as in Apple, homes with an S at gmail.com. Or you can, by all means, call my Royal LePage office in Oakville, 905-257-3633 to be directed to me. And look me up on Instagram, Shirlyn_homes. I'm sure you'll be able to see some of the things that I've posted and some of the listings and whatnot I do have, as well as on my website.